Notorious productive family, the Mississippi dynasty, the prince of King Bae.
Yeah, so hello everyone, real time with Mississippi. Today we're going to be talking about everything Korea. So again, I have a very special guest with me. Somebody that grew up together in the streets of Bamenda in Cameroon. We kind of grew up together, and as we are growing up, we had our paths, kind of separated. But again, we crossed path again in Canada. So without wasting any time, so he'll be able to introduce himself, and then we're gonna take off from there. So Divine.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be on this podcast with Mr. B. Desmond. We have known ourselves way back from Cameroon, like the streets of Bamenda,
Yes.
precisely Sona Street. Yeah, we grew up together. As he rightly said, we part ways one way or the other since he moved to Canada while I moved to South Korea. So I've lived in South Korea for 5 years before moving to Canada. So I'm here to share my experience.
Oh yes, yes. Definitely we want to hear all about your experience and how things over there. For like example, for me, I'm someone that I feel like I'm a traveler. Like I love to travel. I love to see like what's out there, what other people are doing, how other cultures, and especially in Canada, when you come to Canada, you kind of see a lot. Like you've been to Korea, you've been to China, you've been to India, you see everything in Canada, right? So you see a little bit of that. So again, I think that one of the first people that I ever met 10 years ago when I came to Canada was actually a Korean. That's actually a Korean who was working at the bank. Because, when we come here, the first thing you try to go do is get a bank, get a bank account, get a phone number. I think that was one of the first things I did. I went to the bank, and the person that I met was actually Korean. Very nice, super nice guy. It was all good. But again, thank you again, Divine, for being here on the podcast. So the very first thing that I want to ask is why. So because I know in Cameroon, right, when we are there, so there's always so many options. We want to travel here, we want to travel here, but I know that the general big pick for us in Cameroon, especially that time we were looking to travel, was the America, so the United States. You're going to Britain or Germany. Canada, not so much again, but again, Canada has become more popular. So why did you choose to go to Korea?
Yeah, actually,
But you know what? Hold on with that thought. Just hold on. But I just want to make it very clear to everybody we're talking about South Korea, right?
Yeah, South Korea.
Because they say you want to just tell us about the difference between South Korea and North Korea? Okay, a slight difference, not much.
I just think it's the slight difference is just like they are separated like by boundaries. Yeah, but I think the language is the same. Yeah, and then in terms of North Korea, they practice communism, while in the South it's a democratic government. So I think that's the main important difference.
Right. Okay. With that said, though, all right. Okay. That makes sense. But I like Rocket Man. Okay. So yeah, why did you choose Korea?
Actually, basically, before I chose Korea, actually, I was preparing to come to Canada. Preparing to come to Canada, I had already put in place a structure, a plan to come to Canada for studies. But basically, with Canada, I needed finance, so I was struggling to save some money to move to Canada. So during that period, while I was hustling, struggling to get money, my elder brother came and told me as you can see, I have a friend of mine in South Korea, Gideon. Is a friend of his. I also know Gideon very well. We grew up together in Gomram.
Yeah.
So Gideon, he said Gideon is in Korea and he's doing well over there. And he can talk with Gideon. Gideon can look for admission for me to move to Korea. I said, okay, why not? If you think Korea is good, why not? Let me try it over there.
Okay.
So
that's how you went to Korea.
That's how I found myself.
Yeah, it's very fun because a lot of people end up always wanting to come to Canada or go to America and then end up finding themselves in some other place in Asia or like in the Eastern Europe, all those kind of sites. But again, I understand that logistic coming to Canada is way more expensive than actually going to most other places. Coming to Canada or the States is way more. There's a lot more documentation, and because of how the immigration system is set up,
Yeah.
it's not set up like
I think
most other countries. So I guess yes, I understand why you would kind of make that shift in one way or another. But then again, the next thing that I wanted to ask following that is so because you mentioned it was because of finances, is it that going to Korea to study there is a little bit cheaper, or like what's it like?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit cheaper in terms of the bank statement because the bank statement and the tuition. Yeah, so probably before going to Korea, I first of all like applied for Korean language.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Moving to Korea through Korean language, I think at that time it was somehow like it was less expensive
Mm-hmm.
because the tuition fee is not that expensive. So I think like that's the first step. First of all, to get to Korea, then
Mm-hmm.
I will look for a way out.
So what you are saying is the way you took to get to Korea was applying to go there to go study the
Korean
Korean language.
language, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. But
Yeah.
I mean, it happens everywhere in most places. Like sometimes when you come to Canada, is what they call you have to. If you're not coming from an English country, they require you to um uh, get English testing. And if you
Yeah.
cannot make it, sometimes the schools will offer you English placement, right? So
Yeah.
you come here and study English first
Yeah.
before actually starting whatever program. So I kind of um understand that. Okay, all right, okay. So now that we've developed that area of how you got to Korea, can you just tell us a little bit about the what they call the process of applying? So like,
Mm.
did you use an agent? Did you apply by yourself? What is that you did? Like, what's the process like?
Actually, I didn't use an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, my brother got in contact with a friend, Gideon. So uh, at that time, he sent me Gideon's number. So I took Gideon's number. I called Gideon and we talked. So Gideon like told me the process.
So Gideon was like the person in the back end.
Yeah, he was actually the person at the back end that like helped me to follow the procedure to
Mm-hmm.
get to
Mm-hmm.
get my visa to move to Korea. So first of all, he told me like I had to certify my documents because moving to Korea, you have to certify your certificates at your university, and then certify your document as well at the
Mm-hmm.
Ministry of External Relations in
Right.
Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, you certify your documents at the Korean embassy in Yaoundé. So after certifying your documents, then you send to your school. So from there, your school now will process your admission.
So once your school processes your admission, then you like once you get the admission, then you have to go back to the Korean embassy to apply for the visa.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So
So when your school process your admission, they will send your admission letter, and then you use your admission letter now to
so
apply for a Korean
so
visa.
what is the rough estimate to get like an admission to apply for or like to apply for like admission in like a school in Korea?
Um, I think at that time, it was like 4,000, like $5,000.
$5,000?
Yeah,
No, cannot be possible.
I think for a 1 year program.
No, is that I'm not talking about the tuition.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like to get the admission.
To
Like
get the admission,
yeah.
I think it was just like $200.
Oh, $200. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Like $5,000 for the admission. How much you gonna
No,
pay for
no,
the
no. I
tuition?
think that was actually $5,000. I think it's for the tuition
Mm-hmm.
and even tuition with lodging as well, the dormitory fee.
That would be like everything inclusive.
Yeah, everything inclusive.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. All right. That makes sense. And the other thing that I also wanted to so for like the visa application,
Yeah.
what would be like the cost of the visa application?
The cost for the visa application, I think it's not that expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like I think 30,000
France?
francs CFA.
Oh,
The cost for the
which
visa.
would be like $60 approximately.
Yeah, approximately
Oh,
$60.
okay. Okay.
So that's it.
Wow. So it's not even that difficult to go there. But then so when you do all those things, like again, when you so let's say you get the visa, What is like the flight range, like the price for the flight range to go over there?
I think because back then going to Korea, I think I paid a one-way flight. It was like a 500 and something, uh,
1,000 francs.
1,000 francs CFA.
That's
Yeah,
approximately $1,000.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
approximately thousand dollars.
that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's a fair amount. But I'm sure right now, if you wanted to take a flight to go over there, it's gonna definitely be a different story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so.
Okay, so the other thing that I want to ask, and I will get into it. We'll get into it. Like I just want to get a highlight, but we'll get into it more details later.
Yeah.
Is how is the immigration system there? Is it like an open immigration system where they're welcoming people from lots of places, or like is it kind of closed? Like,
No, I think they welcome people from places like from countries all over the world.
mm,
Like because Korean is like really open to countries. Like it's like they want to promote the love for people to come and study over there in
mhm,
Korea. So actually, like moving to Korea, at least uh, I came in contact with a lot of foreigners from
mhm.
other countries in all over, like in
So what would be like? Okay, so if they are open, what would be like? So like, okay, they are open to immigration to bring people, whatever to come. What about integration? So let's say if you go there and you study and you finish studying, like, are
yeah.
there opportunities for you to work, like proper job, right? Like we've already been out of the country. I understand that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just going to school. Going to school is one thing, and then getting the job is another whole different thing.
Yeah, I think so. The thing is, you can get a good job, a white collar job over there after studying.
Hmm.
But the thing is, normally studying, when you know their language, you
Yeah.
study their language, you have like topic level 5,
Hmm.
it's quite easy for you to get a job. Because normally for Koreans, they love that you have to know their culture.
Hmm.
And knowing their culture, first of all, you have to start with the language.
Yeah.
So if you have the topic level 5, it means you know the language very well.
Right.
They can easily integrate you into their system.
So
So you can
So
easily
they are
get a
open to
job.
integration as well.
Yeah,
But one of the things that everybody that's going there need to keep note on is the language.
the language.
We're gonna
The
get
language
into
is the
we're
key.
also gonna get into the language in a little bit more details
Yeah,
because I think that you kind of understand the language a little bit, but we'll get into that a little bit.
yeah.
So just a general question before we kind of get into this first part. What would you say is like the most risks that you find in Korea that are not generally Korean?
The most race, I
Hmm.
think, in Korea, I think you have the Japanese, the Chinese,
Hmm.
and then you have people from Uzbekistan.
Hmm.
Yeah, and all those neighboring Asian countries. A
So
lot of them are in South Korea.
okay, that I can get. Okay, but okay, just hold that thought for one moment because I'll
Yeah.
come back to it. Is when you're there, are you able to tell physically the difference between, let's say, a Japanese, a Korean, and a Chinese? Because I cannot tell the difference here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's same with me, same with me. Like
Mhm.
when I just moved to South Korea,
Yeah.
actually it was difficult for me to make out the difference between the Koreans, the Japanese,
Hmm.
and the Chinese because they really look alike. Yeah, but after some time, like I could make out the difference
Hmm.
between them. So it's something like you can't know the difference, just like us Africans.
Yeah.
They are, because when I was there, they were like, oh, I think they can't make out the difference as well. Like
Yeah.
they just think like Africans, they will see me
Well, for
like,
them, it's going to be more difficult, but for you going there,
yeah,
it's kind of a little bit explicit because you are going to them, right?
yeah.
If they are coming to you, it's a whole different thing. Then they need to be able to pick out these differences. But if you're going there, then you have to be the one picking out the differences. That's what I'm asking if you can kind of split. Because
At
even
first, I
here, right,
couldn't.
I cannot split the difference. Chinese, I can kind of tell, but the rest of those Asians, you can bundle them together, and it's really, really difficult to kind of tell who is who and who's not who.
Yeah, I think so. But I think for the start, I couldn't make out like the differences.
Hmm.
But with time, I could make out the differences.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of time. Then you can get to like know them. Like
Hmm.
this person's from Vietnam, this person from Cambodia, this
Yeah.
person from Thailand, this
Right.
person from Japan, this person from China. Like
Hmm.
with time, you can make out the difference.
Right. Right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last thing is like, okay, out of that, the scope of Asians and whites and whatever, like African countries, what would be like you see? Because we're gonna get into this again in detail, in detail. Like what other race, like what other country, like is it South Africans, is it like Nigerians? What other race you find which are like Africans, which are you find a lot in Korea?
I think like in Korea you'll find um, uh, like South Africans.
Mhm.
You have a lot of South Africans over there because they do teach English.
Oh,
Yeah, because they are open to teach English over there in South Korea.
yeah,
So like you have a lot of them over there. You have a lot of Nigerians as well
yeah.
that do study in South Korea and with Ugandans. Yeah, most
The
those are
one the
the
one thing I always say, if you go somewhere and you do not find Nigerians, just know you're in
Like,
the wrong
wrong.
place.
Of course.
Just know that if you go somewhere and you don't find Nigerians, I can tell you you're in the wrong place. Those dudes will leave any fucking way on this planet.
Yeah, I think, and they are quite smart,
No, they're
they
very
know how
smart.
to adapt to the
Extremely
environment
smart.
and like
Trust me, those
fit.
guys are blessed and you do not understand.
Yeah, they are really blessed.
All right. Okay.